Many of you know me. I'm a father with 2 children in the district, and I have spoken on the community's behalf at a number of our board meetings. I found that the district has changed. What used to be a close-knit and friendly environment is no more. When I've spoken at board meetings, I've been told on a number of occasions by members that if I didn't like the way things are, I should run for the board. Well, here I am. In 2006, we battled over a middle school attendance plan. It involved new buses and busing kids all over the district and inconveniencing families. The people did not like it. It was a plan to balance enrollment, and it was based on erroneous projections. Today, the district uses a common sense plan that does none of those things, and it required no investment in new buses. It was a plan that I and other citizens developed working together. It made sense, and it saved money. Recently, we had the issue of teacher layoffs. And the layoffs were due to the fact that we were dealing with declining revenues in the district, partially due to state budget cutbacks, but it had more to do with enrollment falling below projections. Again, the board approved the decision to lay off senior teachers on a technicality because they made more money. It seems they didn't consider the long-term implications to the teacher and staff morale. The community had to fight long and hard to have those layoffs rescinded. Plans have been approved and measures have been passed and money has been spent. The question is, with the problems that we had, should anyone be held accountable for these errors? Now, during a successful career, I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets and hundreds of employees. I believe people who do jobs and have a stake in the results should always be brought together and develop common goals and plans to reach them. If elected, I will ensure that common sense, teamwork, and fiscal responsibility will always be involved in any decisions relating to the education of our children.
What is the most important aspect of education to you? Explain your reasoning.
Well, of course, being a parent, I can't speak to what the educators themselves should or should not do. My expectations as a parent would be that an education should provide my children with the tools and the skills and the knowledge they need to become productive young citizens and make them able to adapt to the things they're going to face when they enter the world. Now, of course, we stop at 8th grade, but by then the foundation should be laid, that these children are ready to excel and move on to high school and hopefully college, and again, to be productive citizens. I think education is the #1 thing in the United States that has probably lost some of its effectiveness over the last few years, as scores around the world indicate. And I agree with Scott. I don't see a problem with teaching to tests. I'd like to see my children know everything they need to know, again, to be productive citizens.
What do you see as the greatest challenges to the district?
Well, obviously, the first challenge the district is going to face is going to be budget. I don't think any district in the country is able to escape that particular issue. We have a difficult road to take, there's no doubt about that. But I think in this district, in addition to that, there's some things that have been lost in this district that were once there. No longer does the community feel as if they're part of the equation, and the staff sometimes feels the same way. I believe when you're going to find yourself running on shoestring budgets and stress levels are going to be raised, people need to work together. You need to have commitment from everyone involved and everyone that will be affected, including staff, parents, and students, in decisions that affect them. The only way you're going to make your way through a difficult period like that is with people working together. I look at it, education or successful students are on top of a three-legged stool, and you've got to have administration, you've got to have teachers and staff, and you've got to have community working together. I think over the last few years that's been lost, and people find themselves fighting much too hard to be heard. And again, if you're going to go through difficult times and difficult periods with a stress level like that, people have got to work together to achieve common goals.
What is your interpretation of the relationship between the superintendent and the school board?
Well, obviously the superintendent manages the district. The board's relationship to the superintendent should be as a conduit between the community and the government entity known as education or Dry Creek School District. Regarding Barry's comment on the budget line items, I have looked at the budget, but unfortunately, unless you're in the job and you're sitting there and you're able to ask questions, you cannot differentiate between line items and what is under this line item and what is under that. You find yourself lost in a maze of information that you don't have the background to deal with. So it's not a matter of people not having looked at the budget, it's just not having the background to understand it. But again, the board's position is to be a conduit for the community and a trustee of our money and of our opinion. And you relate to the school board, the superintendent rather, in an effort to direct that on behalf of the people. And of course, you've got to weigh the district operations themselves, but first and foremost, that's what I believe. They're a conduit for the community.
District administration put a recommendation before you to lay off teachers using a skipping criteria, which means that a teacher's merit and quality years of service are ignored in favor of a certification they may not have. How would you respond? Can you say it one more time?
No, I think it's clear how I would respond. Anybody who's been in any board meetings already knows the answer to that. You can't take advantage of a technicality to lay off teachers who have given you their heart and their soul, even teachers of the year, because of a technicality you did not enforce. These teachers that we're speaking about started on the job long before this particular certification was required. They were never forced to do it. Because of the great results in the district, it was somewhat winked at. Nobody ever was told if you didn't have this particular certification, you might be looking for a job. So do I think that is fair? Absolutely not. Those who came in afterward were required to have that certification to get their credentials. I don't think you can treat the people who work for you, the people who go out of their way to teach our students that way. Where would we be without our teachers in this district? We're not an excellent district because of our administration. We're an excellent district because of the people who teach our children. And that's the bottom line. And that's why I sit here and I say, you got to cut from the top down. You got to do everything you can to not lay off teachers. Because I don't need an administrator. My daughters don't need an administrator. I need teachers. And I need teachers who care. And the way we've gone about things, we have a lot of teachers with a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of damaged morale. And I don't think you can ever put a price on what that's done to this district.